Good night, good night, good night. Good night, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to another episode of the All Over It podcast. Yeah. We are with it. I don't know. Love alone. Yeah, episode 14. And yeah, we're talking about mindset shift. Change your mind, change your money. Or should I say make money? Yeah. So starting early today, we're going to be getting into it one time. And yeah, of course, I can start with announcements. Then I can get into the motivational message. As I said, today we're talking about mindset shift. So, being as last week we started on financial literacy, today now we're going to dive more deeper into the financial literacy topics. So, yeah, that's what we're getting in store. That's what I got in store for you today. That's what we're getting into today. So yeah, today I'm talking about positive mindsets, growth versus fixed mindsets, conditioning, what it is, how serious it is, and then I'm going to touch on some books that I read, books that I have that I find are must reads, especially when you're on a financial literacy journey or when you just want to better your financial understanding. So yeah, firstly, of course, I have to welcome you. I have to thank you. I have to. It's not a want, it's a must. You know, I thank you very much for being on, taking the time out, taking the time out on your Monday evening to jump on, whether on your phone, whether on your TV, wherever it is, to watch me talk about all kind of different topics. That's why we all over it. We all over it. And so, yeah, we growing. Things looking good. Right now, we're trying to reach 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So, if you ain't subscribed yet, go ahead and do that. And yeah, we can keep it going. As you can see, we keeping a momentum. From I started this podcast in May, I've been on it every week. Even when I went away, when I was thinking to myself, like, why, how I going to do it? I make it happen. Yeah, we here for you. Yeah. Tell you, think of it like your favorite show. Whether you like Discovery Channel or Mythbusters or if you like history or informational thing. Yeah. Consider it just like that. Every week, new episode, video. Yeah. So yeah, we growing. And yeah, what I'll say, as I tell you all the time, leave a little comment in the chat. Let me know who they are. But I just want to throw this disclaimer that I doesn't see who on watching or who on the live because I on a different platform. I ain't like on, let me say, YouTube or Facebook itself, whereas then I could see who joined the live and so on. So that's why I just be telling everybody, leave a little comment so I could see. Let me know you're there so I could shout you out. I want to know that you're there, you know. Somebody pulled me up checking, yeah, but you shout out everybody. I was on the live, you don't shout me out. I checking, but yo, you don't leave a comment. How I gonna know you there? You checking, yeah, but did I show you? Nah, I can't see. I tell you straight. Because I am StreamYard, as my recurring viewers know, these past few episodes I've been talking about StreamYard, at least the past 4 episodes, because now we're using that platform. Even before using StreamYard, I still wasn't on Facebook or YouTube because I would be on OBS Studio, which is another platform that allows you to like stream, share screen, and all these type of different things. So yeah, just a little disclaimer. But yeah, you don't know. It's love alone, you know. I love Ayo, appreciate Ayo. Like I say, thank you for joining. And yeah, leave a little comment in the chat so I could shout you out. Let me know who they are. Or if anything I saying touch you and you're checking, yeah, Oliver, I feel you. Leave a little comment. Anything you guys say, I listening. Trust and believe, you know. So if like I say, leave a comment so I could know who they are. Leave a comment on anything that interests you. But anyways, like I say, we elevating. We moving forward, we moving on up to the east side like the Jeffersons, you know. Yeah. Yeah. Big up yourself. Big up yourself one time. All of us senior in the place. Yes. Yeah, man. Fresh haircut. Feeling like a man. That is it. But yeah, though, we elevating. Interviews coming soon. I done been talking to some people, lining up some interviews. So yeah. We moving on up. But I see it, momentum. We keeping the momentum going. Episode 14 today. We've been going straight every week since we start. Consistency, determination, and strategic momentum. Yeah. Just so. But anyways, I can get right into it because we got a good episode in store. So yeah, like I say, we're talking about mindset today, but I can get right into the motivational message of today, which is the mind is a battlefield. The mind is a battlefield. Anybody know me? No, I just say that. I just say that a lot, you know, and it's straight facts, you know. So yeah, love. But yeah, the mind is a battlefield. We wrestle every day, all day, with negative thoughts that attack us. So we must learn to identify and combat the negative thoughts we wrestle with bold defiance. You know, life is about perspective, cup half full instead of cup half empty. You know, we let our negative thoughts keep us from doing things, doing what we have to do. We let our own thoughts keep us from connecting with others, from family, friends, relationships, you know, even because of these different family feuds, you know, there's turmoil in families, and you know, negative thoughts cause this one to be against that one, and all these things. Even negative thoughts make people doubt themselves or feel less of themselves, and because of that they don't go for what's meant for them, you know, be it a job opportunity, even be it a woman, you know. You have to overcome the negative thoughts that we battle with, that we wrestle with, you know. The Bible says, Paul talks about this in Romans chapter 7. He says, the battle for sin always starts in the mind, you know. And the eyes play tricks on you too and make the mind put limitations. You ever had to do a task and thought to yourself, this is too much work. I can't do all of that. But then you start, and when you really take stock and you look back, you check and you knock out most of it, and it wasn't even as strenuous as predicted, you know. I remember I was doing some work, me and my uncle, and we both watch a pile with defeat before we even start. And I said to him, don't worry about it, man. We can get through it, you know, believe. And within an hour, we get through it, and This to show you the power of teamwork for sure. When tasks are done as a collective, it gets done quicker and with less effort, but it also shows that the mind sets limitations on us even before we attempt a task. And if we look past those negative thoughts and stay steadfast, we can overcome anything. I hear a wise man say, if father tell him while he was faced with a difficult task that they would overcome it because they have a brain and it does not. And I just remember that. So I will tell you, remember that. The next time you face with a difficult task, you could overcome it because you are a human being. You have a powerful mind, more powerful than a supercomputer. So approach your task with the utmost bravery and you can surely overcome the mental slavery. You know, we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us, as the Bible says. God gives us dominion over creation, meaning we have rule over everything we put our mind and hands to. So you need to step out of your comfort zone. You know, the mindset of the wealthy is very different from that of someone in poverty. Your environment, who and what you are around plays a big role in your thoughts and aspirations. So don't be afraid to be alone with your own thoughts. Me, instead of avoiding myself, I hold myself accountable because if I don't, who will? And we should not be caught up on others' validation. Once we are doing what is best for us, that's all that matters. So it starts with a mindset shift. I remember when I started looking at things with a more positive lens, cup half full instead of cup half empty. And honestly, it's kind of like tricking your mind into being more positive. Doing this, the mind will start to feel less as a battlefield and a little more like walking through a lush, green, tranquil garden, or sitting by the beach or by a river of water, just relaxing. So the mind is of a battlefield, but once you stay steadfast, you can overcome it. And that's my message for you today. Yeah, the mind is a battlefield. You have to stay steadfast and stay defiant because he can chew you up and spit you out your own brains. You check? So yeah, that's my motivational message for you today. Today. God bless. God bless. So if you like it, leave a like. If you're there in the chat, yeah, like it, leave a little comment. Whenever you're feeling down and you feel like, why I want some type of upliftment, some type of motivation and inspiration, you could always come back to this episode or any of them and listen to this motivational message or any of them. And I promise you, you're gonna find some type of motivation and inspiration. Love. So yeah, that was my motivational message to you. And today, like I say, we're gonna be talking about mindset, mindset shift, growth mindset instead of fixed mindset, having a positive mindset, similar to like how I just talked about in the message. So I can show some content, I can get into some stuff, and I can share some books that I read. I got a couple here that I can go through more in the end of the episode. Good night, Edorna. Blessings. Thank you for joining. My credits classmate, big up yourself one time. That's love. Hey, love alone. Look, I love her, I really appreciate her for taking her time out, really and truly. Without you, is no all over it podcast. Without you, the viewer, I can just be here sitting down talking to myself, you know. So if I could come on here and share a message that could help anybody, even one person in any way, I do my job straight up. And on that point, I gotta say, God is good. I last week after last week episode, I get some good feedback. One thing I could say, I noticed that whenever I do like financial literacy or content about like finances, whether it be stocks or anything investing, it does get some good feedback. It does get good viewership, good, you know, interaction, and so on. But one point I have to share is I had a friend of mine that reached out to me the day after I had do last week's episode, so last week Tuesday, and he sent me a voice note, and I ain't gonna lie to you, it made me feel good, man. It made me feel good. It warmed my heart, like after apologies. A message just come in say technical difficulties, so we gotta regulate things. That's what we do, regulate things. But yeah, anyways, apologies. Okay, so yeah, anyways, getting back into it, what I was saying is a friend of mine had sent me a voice note, and basically after last week's episode about like the overview on financial literacy, he shared with me that he had really liked the episode. It made him really think about things for himself, and it was just a nice, it was just a nice comment he made, telling me like, yeah, I should write a book, and that more people should hear that information and learn that type of information. And just his message was very motivational to me too, because it's like you feel good, feel like you're doing something good and you're being recognized for what you're doing. So that was very positive. But yeah, I know what's going on there. I was informed that the chats on YouTube not working, which that makes sense. I only seeing chats coming in from Facebook, but I don't, yo no comprendo por qué. I don't understand why, because they always work. And anyways, we can't leave that stop. We on the forefront of things always. Check. Okay, good. Okay, good. I'll say try it now. So for my YouTube viewers, test it out. Let me know. Anyways, getting back into things. Right back into things. Yeah, I had feel good when I get a message from my friend checking like, yeah, he like what I doing. He had like the comment from last week, content, sorry. And just bigging me up, you know. Ah, hey Natalie. You see, I got my people from Aruba in the chat too. That's love. Appreciate you for joining. Shout out to Natalie Maduro in the chat. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Big up. Um, but yeah. So last week I did a overview on like financial literacy. Did a whole presentation with PowerPoint and everything. A lot of content. Go check that out. But yeah, today we getting into mindset. So to start, I want to show you this nice background my computer gave me. And yeah, so to get right into it, mindset shift. Mindset shifts are important. Last week, I touched on this in my PowerPoint. It was the second topic after my personal story. And I don't want to get too I don't want to get too deep into what I covered last week, but what I do want to do is touch on this one specific line, which is to thrive, leaders must adopt a mindset that drives empowerment, inspires innovation, and encourages proactive adjustments. From rethinking growth goals to fostering a culture of resilience. The right shift can unlock significant progress and help you build a thriving organization. Amen. Straight up. I also touched on this last week, which is 10 powerful mindset shifts for organizational transformation. But like I said, consider it for yourself instead of like for a business or an organization. And you will, it has a lot of topics that would resonate still. Um, yeah, so things like catalyst for change, adaptability and innovation, and so on. Yeah, so not really trying to get too much into that today. What I want to touch on today is, like I said, positive mindsets and growth mindset. So I want to start by showing this page before I get into the article I want to share. I just want to show you the large number of resources talking about growth versus fixed mindset. Be it, as you can see, a lot of different articles. They have numerous videos. If I press view all, it'll have a lot, and all of these, as they say, growth mindset versus fixed mindset. All of them say the same thing, same thing, same thing. So just to show you the seriousness or how important it is for you to have that shift, you know. So getting into the first article I really want to share is this article from Harvard Business School, which talks about growth mindset versus fixed mindset. What's the difference? So it goes on, it says, a common misconception about entrepreneurship is that you're either born with what it takes or you're not. In reality, entrepreneurial skills, like any other, can be learned and strengthened. Do you have to be creative genius to succeed? Asked the Harvard Business School professor William Salem in the online course. Do you have to be young or technical or a college dropout or risk seeking to become an entrepreneur? I don't think so. I don't think so either. Every person can find opportunities, attract necessary resources, and build teams to bring successful products and services to customers. This mindset, that ability and intelligence can be achieved through effort. It's called a growth mindset and it's an invaluable asset in any world. I want to continue as it says, someone with a growth mindset views intelligence, abilities, and talents as learnable and capable of improvement through effort. On the other hand, someone with a fixed mindset views those same traits as inherently stable or unchangeable over time. For example, an aspiring entrepreneur, as an aspiring entrepreneur, you need basic finance skills to create your business budget and prepare its financial statements. If you have a fixed mindset, you may think, I've never been good at math, let alone financial statements, so I'm not cut out to run my own business. Now imagine you approach this situation with a growth mindset. You might think, I don't have a background in finance, but I can learn and practice those skills until I feel capable. Now, what I want to point out on that point is, I guess, a mindset shift that I embraced, which is I did a training once and they said, it was about growth mindset. And it was saying, instead of looking at things like it's ended or like it's over. You should look at things like how can I do it? Like what can I do to make it happen? So most people with any type of situation, being it what they want to cook or maybe they have to go on the road or they have to catch a flight or whatever it is, they might tell themselves like maybe they missed the flight, oh well, it's over. But somebody with a growth mindset might say, okay, how I could fix this? Like a problem solver, a solution oriented mindset person is someone who, instead of saying, okay, well, well, we can't do nothing about that, they're gonna say, okay, what we could do about this, how we could fix this. Instead of saying the door closed, they're trying to see, okay, how we could open this door. So that's an important point to to put forward. Moving forward, I just want to show this last part of this illustration where it shows the differences between the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. Whereas it says a fixed mindset avoids challenges, doesn't accept failure or mistakes, believes talent is static, meaning it doesn't change. So once you know something, that's it. You can't learn more about it or you can't learn nothing else. And they shy away from unfamiliar things. So they're not open to trying new things, or if it's something that they don't know about, they don't really want to get into it or try to learn about it. So, as opposed to a growth mindset, which views challenges as opportunities, embraces constructive feedback, learns and grows from failure, and believes in skill development, meaning you could grow your skills, you could better yourself, and so on. So I'll be honest, I'm still curious to know if yeah. So just so you could get an idea of the difference between mindset and why a mindset shift is important if you want to better yourself in financial literacy, if you want to grow your finances, grow your wealth, if you want to grow, period. If you aspire to better yourself in any way, shape, or form, you have to have a growth mindset as opposed to uh a fixed mindset. So just to share those points. So moving forward, I want to talk about conditioning. Conditioning is a very serious thing, is a very prominent thing. It's something that is subliminal, so you don't really see it, you may not notice it, but it's there, and so as we could see, we have a Britannica definition of conditioning. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but in psychology, a behavioral process whereby a response becomes more frequent or more predictable in a given environment as a result of reinforcement with typical um, settings, certain parameters. So a classic conditioning example is Ivan Pavlov's experiment on dogs. So the most famous experiment of classical conditioning was Ivan Pavlov's experiment with dogs, who salivated in response to a bell tone. Pavlov showed that when a bell was sounded each time the dog was fed, the dog learned to associate the sound with the presentation of food. It came with a fair response. So they have type of other persons who did different studies on it, and they found fair responses, panic disorders, a lot of different issues and disorders that stemmed from conditioning. Moving forward, I just want to also show this page of different resources that talks about the role of overcoming conditioning. So look, as it says, why breaking free from societal conditioning is so essential. Break free from conditioning, rewrite, rewire your mind for success. Breaking free from the not self. So as you can hear, that's how serious it is. You're not yourself, you know, how social conditioning limits you from productivity to purpose, why so many of our habits are a source of suffering, and so much more resources related to conditioning and why overcoming conditioning is important. So, moving on, I want to share this 1 minute video that talks about this experiment about monkeys and a stepladder. So, it have multiple different ones, but I chose this one to share. Okay, so thank you for indulging me in that 1 minute video. And yeah, I just wanted to share that video to show how serious conditioning is. So imagine that they start spraying them down till the point they didn't even have to spray them down no more. And then the new ones come in, the new ones never even get sprayed, but they end up still getting fight down. They end up still fighting down each other, and none of them don't know why. And from the first time I come across that video or that understanding of that experiment, the first thing I say is crab in a barrel mentality. That there is crab in a barrel mentality. It's like, I don't want you to reach to the top to get your reward because then it gonna hurt me. You check? So I'm gonna pull you down before you reach to the top because yeah, it's not in my best interest, you know? To the contrary, it's gonna hurt me more than it's gonna help me, you know? So yeah, that's love. By the way, anybody on YouTube, you could send comments now. I promise you that I got it regulated for sure now. Oliver Williams, solution oriented. Anyways, yeah, so I just wanted to show that video to show how serious these things are and how important it is to understand what you're dealing with, understand the battle you're up against, to know how you could deal with it or overcome. Yeah, plain and simple. Yeah, so moving on, I can share a few last topics about the conditioning again. So the role of purpose in overcoming conditioning and deconditioning. Living an aligned life requires moving beyond the limitations and conditioned beliefs and behaviors that may inhibit our ability to connect with our true purpose. So understand how powerful that one sentence is. I'm going to read it again. Living an aligned life requires moving beyond the limitations of conditioned beliefs and behaviors that may inhibit our ability to connect with true purpose. That basically saying we have to start to live in an aligned way. We have to start living the right way in order for us to overcome our own limitations, overcome our own self, the own negative thoughts and negative beliefs and negative limitations that we place on ourselves. We have to be steadfast and strong to overcome it. I'm telling it to you here. I tell it to you all here in my message. Look, they're telling it to you here online. Doctors and things telling it to you. Good. Conditioning from a neurological perspective is the result of repeated reinforcement which strengthens specific neural pathways. These pathways are often established early in life and can shape perceptions, belief, and habitual responses that persist well into adulthood. So, what it's saying is, when you've been conditioned to think away, or maybe you go through like some type of traumatic experience from childhood, it could be these things cause you to think and move and behave. You you handle things in a certain way, you think a certain way, you behave in a certain way or react in a certain way because of these past situations or the pathways that has been connected from since childhood. So it ain't your fault, it ain't our fault now. It's not, but you have to be strong if you want to beat it. Plain and simple. If you want to get past it, you have to recognize it, identify it, and figure out your plan to get past it. So yeah, continuing on. Over time, these patterns become automatic, influencing behavior even when they no longer serve our best interests. Dr. Andrew Newberg's research on neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize itself, suggests that purpose driven practices can play a pivotal role in overcoming these ingrained responses. His studies indicate that by engaging in purposeful, intentional actions, individuals promote neural reorganization, allowing the brain to rewire itself in alignment with new value driven behaviors. Through consistent, purpose driven practices, individuals can disrupt these automatic responses, replacing them with actions that resonate more closely with their authentic values and intentions. Good. All of that being said, that there's a nice scientific way to say we all have habits and beliefs and our beliefs and principles and ways we operate. But if you recognize that is not the best way to behave or to move or the best beliefs, if you come to your own realization, your own epiphany that by I learned this all my life and it ain't so, then now you have to be steadfast. You have to work at it. Like it says, you have to through consistent, purpose driven practices, individuals can disrupt these automatic responses. So, give you some examples. Maybe you grow up hearing your parents tell you that you ain't nothing, you ain't no good, you can't do nothing good, you ain't amount to nothing. One my father used to say, not to me, but my grandfather used to say to him, he used to say, my grandfather used to say, you will never be able to lead yourself out of shower rain. Meaning, you ain't good for nothing, basically. A lot of people grow up with that being just indoctrinated into their brain, just hammered into them, hammered over years. So now they grow up and they just believe like, I ain't nothing. I ain't even a good glass of sugar honey iced tea, you know? But now you have to be strong. You have to believe in yourself. You have to shift that mindset, that mentality. Believe in yourself. Tell yourself like, bye. Not just cause my father, my mother, my auntie, my grandmother, my brother, whoever to be, tell me I ain't no good, I ain't good for nothing, mean that's true. I know I could do something. I could do this. Maybe I go at cleaning cars, or I go at cutting grass, or pruning a tree, or agriculture in general, wherever to be. I good at it. I believe in myself. I know I could do better. I'm going to push better myself and make something out of myself to prove these people wrong. That's growth mindset. That's overcoming adversity. That's overcoming conditioning. Or even like we talk about them monkeys. They could have said like, bye. Even though I get wet down, even though my brothers them beating me up, I still going for them bananas and I can still get them and eat them. But what? Most times we just succumb to our environment or whatever negativity bringing us down, whether it's external or internal, whether it be the people around us, whether it be our own self doubt. And that's why I had an episode where I talk about no negative self talk and believing in yourself, man. Look, any episode you go back, you can find something good. I'm telling you, just like that. Anyways, this thing's serious. Matter of fact, let me close this down while I talk about it. It's a serious thing I are talking about. And like this doctor do his studies, it's proven because it is something that starts from the brain. When you hear neurology or neurological, they're talking about your brain, simply put. And all they're trying to say is when you form a set of habits and a specific behavior, you can overcome it. They just tell you, yeah, old habits and old dogs can't learn new tricks, but that's not true. Any old person, you could be 74 years old, you could still learn technology. You could still learn how to use your phone. You could still learn AI. If you really put your mind to it, if you really want it, you could do it. You know what most people, they just count themselves out. They limit themselves. They tell themselves, man, I too old for that, man. But if you really diligently say, you know what? Just like how I learn how to weld, just like how I learn how to till, just like how I learned how to operate a forklift or on a higher level, just like how I learned how to read financial statements, how to manage a company, whatever to be, you could learn a new trick. You just have to be steadfast and diligent about it. You know, you have to tell yourself, okay, this is what I want to learn. This is the plan this is how I going to approach it, whether I say, okay, every day I can put 15 minutes to it, or I say, okay, every week I can take an hour to learning AI. Look back and let me say within a month, 2 months, 3 months, how far you gonna reach. Look, even me with this podcast, I ain't gonna lie, before starting it, they had a level of limitation and defeat I put towards it too. Checking by, I never use these things, I never do these things, but look at doing it. Look, on that point, look, my YouTube viewers could comment now. I just get a comment saying, yeah, reload the page and now could comment. Good. God bless. Big up yourself, Josiah's, tuning in from Toronto, Canada. Reach back. Yeah. Glad to hear you reach back safe. God bless. You know? And yeah, so like we talking about mindset, like we talking about conditioning, you know, like we just put more emphasis on what other people think about us and what other people say about us, what or let me say, or why others, or why we self don't believe in ourselves. We don't put a lot of emphasis on that too, our own self doubt, you know, before we even start anything, we doubt ourselves, you know. But if we was to look past that doubt and say, you know what, okay, I know it's difficult, I know it can be an uphill battle, I know it can just be a today to tomorrow thing, but I can try, I can keep going at it, I can stay consistent. You're gonna make it. You're going to make it out. You're gonna make it to the top of the mountain. You're gonna reach the top of Mount Everest. Put on your flag and say, "Yeah, I do that." Look, me right now on this podcast, like I say, I have grown. Certainly, this podcast has grown. Certainly, look now, I could tell you, I can soon be doing interviews, like I mentioned earlier. Why? Because I start, and because I believe in myself, and because I stayed diligent and stayed consistent, that now I keep growing and growing, that now you could hear me better, you could see me better, you could, everything is structured nicely, you could comment back on both Facebook and YouTube. I know people like that because I know certain people maybe rather Facebook. So you're growing. Just now we're gonna grow more too. So anyways, I ain't gonna get too deep into the growth of that. But just to show you why mindset shift is important. Fixed mindset to keep you at a ceiling. It just, you're reaching here and you're just bumping it instead of just breaking past and say, I gone. Like a rocket take off. Strategic momentum. When you get momentum, it's like you ever see, yeah, they ever tell you about like a snowball, the snowball effect? Whereas like you start a small snowball and then you roll it down the hill, and as you keep going, it just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger until it's a big boulder knocking down buildings and everything. Same thing. It's the same thing. You gotta stay consistent, you gotta stay determined and keep pushing, keep believing in yourself. Even when you feel demotivated, still jump on it, still push and say bye, okay, yeah, I can do it still. Maybe I know how I want to do it right now, I want to do it. And do it. Because when you look back and say, wow, yo, I do that. Tell you, tell you. So yeah, moving forward. I touch on this, 15 ways you've been conditioned to shrink yourself down and how to stop. So I ain't gonna go and touch on this whole thing, but yeah, I'll touch on a little bit of it. It's almost like an invisible force pulling at your edges, telling you to play small, keep quiet, or fit in. From childhood lessons to societal norms, we've all been taught to shrink, to dim our light for the comfort of others. But what if you didn't have to shrink anymore? What if instead you allowed yourself to be fully seen, fully expressed, and unapologetically powerful? Here's how you stop shrinking and why you must. Good. Important. Pass all these at. You shrink your personality to make others comfortable. As early as childhood, we're conditioned to shrink ourselves to fit into the small space others expect us to occupy. It's that unspoken rule: be small, be quiet, don't take up too much space. Whether it's at a family gathering, at school, or in a relationship, women in particular are often taught that their existence is too much. I ain't gonna lie, they've been having a shift in that now too, whereas a lot of men kind of playing, like the role shift, let me just say, but this relentless conditioning teaches us that to be liked, we must soften our presence. Good. You suppress your opinion to avoid conflict. For so many of us, sharing our true feelings like an act of sharing our truth feels like an act of rebellion. From the classroom to the boardroom, we've been taught that strong opinions lead to conflict, and conflict is to be avoided at all costs. On this point, I want to say I touch. I had a presentation I did once about debates, and it talked about the importance of debate and how it's important in, like, growing societies, or societies, already established societies. And basically, long story short, it talk about how you have to be able to have a debate with somebody, even if you don't agree with them. You know, we should be able to have a discussion, whereas I might be opposed to you, but then we still come to an understanding or come to some type of agreement, even if it's we agree to disagree. And that's basically the gist of it. Agree to disagree. Like, okay, I might not agree with you. We could talk about it. I could share my points, you could share your points, and if we still don't feel like okay, well, neither of us agree with either side, then you agree to disagree. Plain and simple, you know. Anyways, it's important. Conflict resolution is important. That's training I do too, in customer service, especially conflict resolution is important, So most people like shying away from conflict. I know a lot of people that afraid of confrontation. I even had bosses or management that was afraid of confrontation, and I check in like, how can you be afraid of confrontation and you're in a managerial role? Like, in a managerial role, you at some point will come to a situation whereas you're going to have to deal with a tough situation, be it as maybe you might have to let go an employee or have a hard conversation with one of your vendors or your suppliers, whatever to be. Like, things ain't always gonna be cookies and cream with cherries on top. Like, you gotta be able to have that hard conversation respectfully, that both parties understand where each other coming from. You bring across your message in a respectable manner, not getting personal, not throwing shots and you know being spiteful and thing, but both sides come into a understanding. Like, okay, look, you send this package for me, but this package come mash up. The item inside is damaged. I can't agree with that. You gotta do something. You gotta give me back my money. You gotta send another product. Something have to happen, you know. But if you don't open up your mouth, if you is one of those people afraid of conflict or afraid of confrontation, you can just collect the package, chicken pie. They send me this package and it mash up pie. I don't like that, man, but it don't even make no sense. I do nothing because I ain't gonna get nothing out of it anyway. They ain't gonna send me back another one, but, so you don't defeat yourself. And especially nowadays where customer service is so important, where they like to, make sure you, the customers, taken care of. You cut your own self. Like, you could have gained as value, you could have gained, but you keep yourself, you diminish yourself, you limit yourself. Plain and simple. Anyways, going back to it. Yeah, so I don't really have to go too much more into that. So it says the truth, conflict is part of growth. The world isn't going to change by keeping quiet. So next time your voice rises with a thought, let it speak your truth, even when it feels uncomfortable. Your opinion matters. Let it be heard. You know. Now, yeah, I agree. Speak up. And a lot of times when you feel uncomfortable about a situation, a lot of times that's just situation are really good for you. Like they say, come step out of your comfort zone. So a lot of times when you step out of your comfort zone is when you're gonna really grow, is when things gonna really change. Like on a job, most people, they checking by, they hate how the boss they treat them, they tired of the company, they don't like it, but they ain't doing nothing. When you speak up, is one or two things gonna happen. Either they're gonna give you a raise, you're gonna get more money, you're gonna get a better situation on the job, or they're gonna let you go. And most people might look at that like a negative, which to an extent it is, if depending on your situation, but rightfully it is a positive because maybe that was the catalyst you needed to make you go and find a better job or start your own business that you checking like, by I can deal with my things better than how these people deal with me. Which that's my role. That's where I come in. I check in like after seeing how people will be treated in the workforce. I check in like, no man, this is how employers dealing with people. I could do better for sure. So I could do better for myself and I could do better for others for sure. So that's why I am my own endeavor. So that being said, I actually have a survey I created in relation to my business that I'm launching. Already officially launched, but officially launching publicly soon. But anyways, getting back to it, you apologize for being yourself. You over apologize, sorry. So you apologize even when you don't have to, apologizing when you don't have to, when you haven't done anything wrong. Is the modern women's speciality. A lot of men do it too. From the moment we're little, we're taught to apologize for everything. I'm sorry becomes a reflex. It's a shield to make others feel comfortable, even when it's unnecessary. You believe that you must please everyone. I'll continue. You let others define your worth. You minimize your achievements to not stand out. So if you do something good, you don't play it or you don't really want to share it because you're checking by other people might feel intimidated about it, or you know you might make other people feel a kind of way, so you're checking by, I ain't even gonna share it because I ain't want to make nobody feel no way. But you have to start owning your wins, no matter how big or small. When you celebrate your achievements with pride, not apology, the world will never give you permission to shine. So give yourself that permission. Stand tall in your accomplishments and let them serve as inspiration for others. So I like that because, first of all, celebrating your achievements with pride will help you pull yourself out of a rut. So maybe you might be that person that tell yourself like, bye, nah, bye. Maybe I doing things, but I ain't gonna share it because nobody ain't gonna really care, or I ain't wanna make nobody feel no way. But when you start sharing, you're gonna start to feel better too. You're gonna be more motivated to do more things to get that feeling again, but not just get that feeling, just more motivated to accomplish more, to set and achieve goals. And all of that can help you grow, all that can help you be more positive, all of that can just help you, period. So I agree with that. Like, celebrate your wins and don't be afraid to share it, because nobody ain't gonna give you permission to share and you know shine. So give yourself that permission, and a lot of times when you do it, it does inspire others because of that. So on that point, before I get back into it, that is this podcast is that, because going back to even before I started on my political journey, campaign and everything, I always been a reticent person. I always been a kind of close up person. I have a lot of thoughts, a lot of, trust me, this brain a walk, you know. But I always keep things to myself, checking like, bye, I don't need to share it, so why should I? But and going back to that point, I never like to be in the spotlight. So this here is like a new endeavor for me. I promise you that. Like, it might look so, but me going on the campaign trail, me doing this podcast, even any of these like public things, I never used to do that. My social media used to be like dead. I never used to post nothing really. Like, yeah, I'll post maybe a little story or maybe a little plate of food or a little view of St. Martin or wherever, wherever it be or something. But I never used to post like that. And yeah, I pulled myself out of that. I now embrace a different endeavor, embrace a different path. And look where it bring me. Now we're here on a podcast with you. And I promise you, if it was like, say, 3, 4 years ago, I'd never do this. Straight up. I'd tell you, it's like, time for me. Just like certain other things we went through earlier in the episode, I would have tell you just the same. Like me, no public person. I don't like spotlight, But look at me now. People might say like, "Bah, yeah, but he like that, but he like being on top of them thing and those type of things." But I promise you, I never used to. That was not my forte, for sure. But yeah, we there now, and I embrace it, and now I see. Whereas, like it say, I have been an inspiration to others, and I see whereas like I am growing in this, and whereas I can continue to grow and make it even better and do better things for more people, and just living in my purpose. Period. Yeah, straight up. So yeah, I love that. I love this because of that. So yeah, celebrate your wins. I agree with that. So like it say, don't minimize your achievements to not stand out. You know? You neglect your self-care for fear of being seen as selfish, so maybe you like, taking care of yourself, doing pedicures, getting your hair did and thing, but you decide, you don't want to do that so much because you don't want nobody feel like, you know, yeah, you're better than them. And make it worse in my country, how our society is in our country, this is how the mentality is. You check people checking by, I ain't want to go here, dress, I ain't want to do my hair because other people will be checking like, bye, she feels, she said, bye, she feels she better than we ma. And then now they gonna start like ragging on her. And it's like, yo, I just want to feel good about myself, but because you feel bad or you feel insecure, you want to now come on me and talk down to me or talk bad about me. Nah. So you gotta be strong. You gotta be strong to overcome these things. Straight up. Um, you were told you're not enough, or and it's stuck. Sorry. So basically, perhaps the most persuasive form of shrinking is the belief that you're not enough, whether it's not being smart enough, thin enough, successful enough, or brave enough. This belief follows us throughout life. We internalize these narratives, feeding ourselves this doubt until we shrink into someone else's version of enough. So that there is perfect. So like I say, maybe you grow up and your parents tell you, "Bye, you're dumb, you're stupid, you ain't smart, you'll never be smart, you'll never make nothing of yourself. You're not smart enough." Maybe a lot of women nowadays, they checking by, I gotta go gym, I got too much belly. Keep in mind now, belly flat. Keep in mind now, these is good looking women that are beautiful, that man still telling you, "Bye, I don't look good, bye, I fat, bye, I bloated today, bye, no, I can't take no pictures, I can't smile because one of my teeth." What? Yeah, you've been taught, conditioned to think that way, to think like, "Bye, nah, I gotta look like this," or "My stomach gotta be like this, and my hair gotta be like this, and my eyes and my nails and everything gotta be like this in order for me to look good. If I don't look like this, I don't look good." But girl, you look good. You look good just how you are, naturally, just how God make you, you know? Okay, yeah, I understand. Yeah, we don't want to practice self care and we don't want to do things to feel good about ourselves, and that's not frowned upon. But you gotta believe in yourself. You gotta believe you're beautiful. You gotta believe you're smart. You gotta believe you're thin enough that you won't fat and bloated. And even if you have a little extra weight, what's the problem with that? Maybe your man, the man that you have to get, love that. Not like it, not love it. And truthfully, it shouldn't be about no man or no validation from outside. It should be by, I feel good about myself like this. Okay, maybe you might say, okay, I put on a little too much weight. I don't like how I'm looking. Let me try to remove some of this weight. That's respected. But I'm telling you, we got some people out here that If you hear them talk about themselves, you yourself can be shocked and amazed. Like, wow, you believe so about yourself? Like, whoa, So like, make it worse for me. I don't know. I guess people are just feel comfortable talking to me, and people does vent to me, and like honestly, I find myself in counseling situations a lot of times, to be honest. But yeah, sometimes I feel like a therapist, real talk. But anyways, that's not the point. Point being, you have to really feel good about yourself, and a lot of people don't. And in my life, over the duration, whether recently, whether years past, like long years back, people have shared a lot of different things with me, and I'll be shocked, like, yo, you feel so about yourself for real? But you're gonna tell them that, of course you're gonna be supportive and thing, but it does be amazing sometimes when you hear or think of the things that people think or feel about themselves, So not enough, someone else's version of enough, So you gotta believe in yourself. You gotta believe that you are enough for yourself. The truth is you are more than enough. Your uniqueness, your quirks, your imperfections, all of it make you exactly who you are meant to be. So stop measuring yourself by standards of others. You are enough, you know. It's not up for debate, as it says there. So at that point, yeah, like I say, you have to believe in yourself. So most people, they shrink themselves down to other people's image, whether women, they see other women on social media, whether Instagram, big Instagram model and all these things, and you comparing yourself to these people, but they ain't you. And when you live in your own purpose, and when you believe in yourself and your own uniqueness, then you're gonna see what you bring to the table, and you're gonna see how you yourself can blossom just like a flower, you know. Hey, big up my cousin Roberto Akin Richardson. Yeah. Big up yourself one time, cause yeah. Appreciate it. On that point, I mentioned that now I am able to do interviews. You check? So just saying, we had a talk a day, and that day now is available, so we could do that. But right now I have this financial literacy series. Sorry, couldn't get it out. Going on, but if anything, yeah, we can make something happen. Me and you can talk. Cause anyways, diving right back into it. So yeah, your uniqueness is what make you you. Even me, like I say, referencing this podcast again, like I said before I started, I had a level of doubt and limitation I placed on it too. But even in that regard, checking like, man, but who gonna want to hear anything about financial literacy from me? Like, you know? But look, like I say, people actually resonating well with it and giving me great feedback, checking like, yeah, they like what I'm doing. You need to write a book and good stuff. So what I bring to the table, only I could bring to the table. What you bring to the table, only you could bring to the table. Only you know what you could bring to the table. So you need to stop, or we need to stop trying to compare ourselves to others, and focus on what we have to offer, what skills and different traits we bring to the table that we could, live in our purpose using. So yeah. So moving on, I will not finish the rest of this article, but just know great stuff. And if you feeling like this, if you feeling less than, or if you ever feeling less than, you could come and listen and read this article, and yeah, it going to give you for sure, like you might find how you feel here, and it going to give you like a little statement how you could feel better about your situation, bottom line, so for sure, all these resources, all the links that I sharing today, every single one of them, you could see it a lot going to be posted in the description on YouTube. So anything you want to go back and check, you could go back and find in the YouTube description. All the ones from last week are in the description from last week's episode. So you could go back and check that one on YouTube as well. And yeah, good to go. So moving on. Lastly, on mindsets, I want to touch on this lady, Mel Robbins. So she have this framework or these principles that she created called mindset reset, and I love it. Catching up, mindset reset, sound good. And she have a lot of content, a lot of information, a lot of topics related to it. So I show in this page to show you the different resources that she have. Whether it's take control of your mental habits, the key to early morning productivity, mindset reset. Like I say, make your brain work for you. The reset, how to control your mind and like yeah. So she have a podcast as well, and yeah, that was one of her episodes, I think. So yeah, I actually looking to put my podcast on Apple Podcasts soon too. Don't worry, working on everything. Thank you very much, cause I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you. So, cause said so very proud of you. I know how you have started, and I see you continue to grow in leaps and bounds. So very happy that you are sharing with others what the Lord has placed into you. Purposeful wealth of knowledge shared. Amen. Man, I gotta show down. I gotta show that. Yeah, you gotta see that. Yeah, read it for a little bit. I read it up for a little while, but just to show you, like, that's love. Love alone cause love and blessings. Really appreciate the support. Yeah, you've been there from the first episode, and you know where we come. You see where we is now. We're doing things. We change up and we're making strides. Yes, we're growing in leaps and bounds for sure. I feel it, and like I say, today specifically in preparing for this podcast, I say I could feel the momentum. I could feel the growth in this podcast. I feel positive about how far it has came, and I could feel that it got a lot farther to go. Like I talk about the snowball effect, like like once you start like a freight train that on the track and get away, a getaway train, like once you start, you just get away and thing no stopping. That's how I feeling right now. Yeah. So I appreciate that statement. That's love. Yeah. So to kind of finish up with Mel and done with yeah, she have some good content, a lot of good content videos. She basically talk about mindset shift, motivation, and so on. Another good resource for motivation and mindset shift is Lisa Nichols. She, I love Lisa Nichols. I'll tell you straight up. But Mel, I did some, I did some, how to say, training in the mindset reset. I did some reading up on it, and I gained some information about it and good stuff. Moving on, she have this. This is her website. So this is actually one of her episodes where she talk about the mindset reset toolkit, how to make your mind work for you. So I ain't going to get into it. I ain't really going to watch the video, but just um, yeah, it's all about shifting your mindset, resetting your mind to learn how to use an amazing filter in your brain to reset your mindset, understand how to change your mindset and focus on what you want in life, and get the key takeaways and insights you can apply to your life right now. Right now. Ahora. So yeah, that being said, that's all the content I have to share about the mindset. But like I discussed earlier, I have some books I want to talk about. I have them right here. Let me see if I can show you this nice big, ah, nice big, nice big pile here. But it's only 5 of them really I want to touch on importantly. 5 of them really important right now. And I'm going to touch on them. I'm going to show a little content on them as well. But yeah, we can get into the book. So over the years, I read a lot of finance books and financial literacy, financial growth, and just mindset books. And I want to share a few with you here tonight. And I can touch on some of them, get into some of the information on some of them and so on. So to start, I can start with my favorite. This book here, The Richest Man in Babylon. This book here, I feel like everybody needs to read this book. Honestly, these 5 first books I'm going to share, I feel like everybody needs to read that. Anybody who really want to better themselves financially, better their situation, even just the mental perception about their situation and their finances, need to read these 5 books. But anyways, moving on. Like I say, Richest Man in Babylon. I love this book. I love this book. This is one of my favorite books in this list. I really enjoyed reading this book. I purchased this book while I was in the United States studying. Honestly, I can't recall who suggested this book to me, but I'm very glad I got it. This book has numerous financial management principles, especially geared towards persons who are in a financial deficit or in debt and can't see their way out. So I love this book also because it was written in a type of storyteller approach. So as it says, The Richest Man in Babylon, A Cure for a Lean Purse. So that was what I just do was my rundown on it, but I can share a quick summary. So The Richest Man in Babylon by George Samuel Classon, however you pronounce it. The Richest Man in Babylon is a 1926 financial self-help book by American author George S. Cleason. So imagine that. It's written. Oh, it was you. It probably was you. It probably was you who tell me about this one, yeah. Maybe when I was in the States, possibly. So big up my uncle Josias for recommending me this book. And actually most of these books that I got here, I get from he. Not all of them, but yeah. Anyways. So yeah, I just want to point out this book was written in 1926 and is still valid till this day. All of these principles in this book, which I'm going to touch on them a little bit, still valid to this day. I'm telling you, I read this book. Like I say, I like how it's framed. It's like set in like a old ancient Babylonian times, and it's like stories about these different people and how they overcome their financial mishaps, and like I said, told in a story form, and it show you how they use these different principles to overcome the mishaps. So In his work, Clayson shares his financial advice with the readers through a series of fictional parables set in ancient Mesopotamian city of Babylon. In these parables, Clayson's characters face obstacles to wealth and success, including low wages, poor spending habits, indebtedness, meaning having debts, and even enslavement, meaning like he was even a slave to somebody else, you know. But they overcome these challenges through hard work, discipline, and a structured system of saving and spending. Good. Clayson's book is now considered a classic source on financial advice, and 21st century readers continue to discover its lessons. So, yeah, like I say, written in 1926 and still 2026, still viable. What that be, 100 years? 101. Good. 101 years old. Damn. So I ain't really get into all of this, but it just say like in chapters 1, they talk about a historical sketch of Babylon. You know, they talk about in the first parable the man who desired gold, whereas two friends named Bansier and Kobe work tirelessly but are not financially secure. You know, to get into the gist of it. The second parable, the richest man in Babylon, Arcad, greets his friends warmly and shares his knowledge with them. You know, so this is somebody who on a high level, and you know, he meets some of his friends, and you know, he end up sharing some of his financial insights with his friends them to help them, you know, get in a better situation. He explains that he was once a poor scribe who struggled to save his income. He sought advice from a wealthy local who told him to always save 10% of his income and to make these savings multiply through investments and so on. Good. It went on, talk about the seven cures for a lean purse. I had loved that chapter. Meet the goddess of good luck, the five laws of gold, the gold lender of Babylon, the walls of Babylon, and so on, so on. You know, so these is like just the different chapters. Um, so moving on, I'll touch on some of the principles. These are the 7 principles that was shared in this book, The Richest Man in Babylon. So as it says here, 7 rules of money revealed in The Richest Man in Babylon. So I'll just go straight to the rules. 7 simple rules of money. 1 being start thy purse to fattening. So pay yourself first. I just tell people this. I actually had debates with my friends checking like, no, you can't pay yourself first. No, that ain't right, blah, blah, blah. But pay yourself first. Save at least 10% of what you earn, no matter what. Work hard at your current job and only spend 90% of what you earn. This is very sensible, a goal all of us should have. Good. 2, control thy expenditures. Save more. Saving more means spending less, and it won't hurt as much as you think. So a lot of people, they feel like, but I have to spend this money, I have to have this, I have to have that. But if you really sit down and look at your expenses on a monthly basis and look at what are you spending your money on, for sure, you could find things that you could lessen, whereas going to increase your savings. Good. As it says, budget thy expenses that thou mayest have coins to pay for thy necessities, to pay for thy enjoyments, and to gratify thy worthwhile desires without spending more than 9/10 of thy earnings. So basically saying, if you budget yourself and you manage your money properly, you could deal with all your necessities. You could still pay for your enjoyment. So you could still go out, have a drink. You could still buy a food or a dinner somewhere with your girl or whatever to be. and still not spend more than 9/10 of your earnings. Good. Make thy goal multiply. Invest in your savings. Once you start to build up some savings, invest that money so that it will make more money for you. Like I've been doing with my dividends, like I've been doing with any investment opportunity I have. You know, put each coin to work so that it may reproduce its kind, even as the flax of the field, and help bring to you more income, a stream of wealth that will flow constantly into your purse. Ha, ha. Look at say there, put each coin to work so that it may reproduce its kind, even as the flocks of the field. So just like how, let me see my farmers then. You see like how you got chickens, you see like how you got goat, you got pig, you got cow. And when you care for your cow or your animal, your livestock, when you care for them, you feed them, you maintain them, did they give offspring? The same kind, not a cow giving you a goat, not a pig laying a chicken. You check? With own kind. So when you put your money to work, it can bring back money for you. It can bring back kind words. It can bring back debt. It can bring back nothing else but more money. You check? Once you put your money in the right investments, your money going to grow and multiply and help bring you more income, a stream of wealth that will flow constantly into your purse. Man, what that don't sound beautiful? Please, somebody tell me if that don't sound beautiful. Good. So guard thy treasure from loss. Invest wisely and manage your risk. This is the fourth principle. Guard thy treasure from loss by investing only where thy principal is safe, where it may be reclaimed if desirable, and where thou will not fail to collect a fair rental. Consult with wise men. Secure the advice of those experienced in the profitable handling of gold. Let their wisdom protect thy treasure from unsafe investment. Good. This telling you, don't go and listen to people that don't know how to manage their money. You know, like a lot of people, you sit down with your friends and you tell them, like, "Bah, yeah, I want to do this with my money," and they tell you, "Nah," or you're checking, you got some money, and they tell you, "Yeah, go put it here, man. They got a good investment." No, look for people that know what they're doing, experienced in the profitable handling of gold. Good. Let their wisdom protect thy treasure from unsafe investment. So when you go and you listen to somebody that don't know nothing about investing or don't know nothing about growing your treasure, you're going to be putting yourself in an unsafe investment, whereas you're probably going to lose. Good. Make thyself of thy dwelling a profitable investment. Own your home by purchase wisely, you know, and just know certain of these is like snippets from the book. Once you hear in old English, that's from the book. Thus come many blessings to the man who owneth his own house, and greatly will it reduce his cost of living, of course, making available more of his earnings for pleasure and the gratification of his desires. This then is the fifth cure for a lean purse: own thy own home. Number 6, ensure a future income. Make sure you save enough for retirement and to care for your family when your life comes to an end. Provide in advance for the needs of thy growing age and the protection of thy family. It's words from the book. And now, number 7, increase thy ability to learn. Improve your knowledge and skills consistently to increase your earning power. Work hard, look for opportunities, and educate yourself. Like we talk about early, growth mindset. Don't just say, okay, bye. I learned this. I could get this amount of money now. That's it. No. I always try to do better. See how you consistently increase your knowledge and skills to consistently increase your earning power. Good. Cultivate thy own powers to study and become wiser, to become more skillful, to so act as to respect thyself. Sorry. Preceding accomplishment must be desire. Thy desire must be strong and definite. Desire must be simple and definite. Sorry. They defeat their own purpose should they be too many, too confusing, or beyond a man's training to accomplish. So the action will lead your forth to the successes you desire. Good. And then some other little, key points. Like I say, only seek advice from those that are wise and knowledgeable on the subject. Counsel with wise men. Seek the advice of men daily work, whose daily work is handling money. Let them save you from such an error as I myself made in entrusting my money in the judgment of Asmer, the brickmaker. A small return and a safe one is far more desirable than risk. So basically, what I'm telling you there is, like I say, seek advice from people who know, counsel with wise men, people who knowledgeable on the subject. You check. So it talk about how the person in the book, in the story that was depicted, talk about how don't be like he. You check? Whereas he went and entrusted money in somebody that he thought would be a good investment. He thought would be a good deal. He'd get a good return, but you just end up messing yourself up. You check, you lose everything, and then what you could get from it? Nothing. So yeah. Great article too about the book, but I do recommend everybody go buy that book. Second book on the list, Rich Dad Poor Dad. Rich Dad Poor Dad. Great book, great book, great book. Great book. Probably one of the most well-known personal finance books in the world. Global bestseller. All of these books. Global bestseller. Yeah. Rich Dad Poor Dad. Great book. I'm telling you. I read it more than once actually. To the point, I buy it, I read it, I end up buying 2 more copies. I give one to my father, who he end up having my nephew read it too. And then I end up borrowing one to one of my friends when I was in the States. And actually, I don't think I actually even ever get that one back. But anyway, point being, great book. To the point I buy it back 3 times and I will keep buying it. It have great book. So published in 1997, Rich Dad Poor Dad is a financial self-help book written by Robert Kiyosaki and Sharon Lecter. Kiyosaki's aim in writing the book was to impart financial lessons and insight to the masses, drawing from his own life experiences and the starkly contrasting financial philosophies of his 2 dads. Kiyosaki structures the book as a series of lessons, each elucidating the differences in mindset and approach to money between Kiyosaki's poor dad, his biological father, and his rich dad, the father of his best friend, Mike. His poor dad, a highly educated academic and governmental official, believed in the traditional path of academic success leading to a secure job, while Rich Dad, who lacked formal education beyond the 8th grade, emphasized financial education, entrepreneurship, and investing as the keys to wealth. Throughout the book, Kiyosaki shares advice on how individuals can escape the cycle of working for money and instead make money work for them, highlighting the importance of assets, passive income, and financial literacy. In addition, Kiyosaki encourages readers to challenge conventional financial wisdom, thereby taking control of their financial future. Good. That being said, not a great book. Just like it said, it gave you like a contrast of like how it was for him living with his own father who have like one set of financial beliefs, let me say, and then now when he dealing with his friend's father who have a whole different set of contrasting financial beliefs. And I'm telling you, it this book in itself is a mindset shift. I think this was the first financial book I read like that, like diligently, like tell myself, yeah, I want to read a financial book. This is the first one. And just like The Richest Man in Babylon, I like how it was structured in like a storytelling setup, whereas he kind of bring you through his life, but use his life experiences to share the principles with you. Great approach. It kept you engaged because it's like a story still, but it teaching you something. Great approach. So great book. Moving on, I actually have this one as well. So this is part of the series. So this is Rich Dad Poor Dad's, well, Rich Dad's Guide to Investing. This is actually the third book in the series. So let me share my screen again. Just to show you, in the Robert Kiyosaki Rich Dad Poor Dad series, he has 13 books. Some of them not as prominent as others, but just so you know, 13. So this is the first one, Rich Dad Poor Dad, where I just share. Then it has Cash Flow Quadrants, which I actually had skipped that one, which is still a good book, but I decided let me say, Guide to Investing more resonated with me. When I saw that, I said, I want that, and even the subheading is say, what the rich invest in that the poor and middle class do not. It's like you're getting a glimpse into what the big dog's doing. Let me say like that, So I had really liked that, So like I say, it have 13 books in the series. I only have these two, the Rich Dad Poor Dad, the first one, and the third, Guide to Investing. I would invest in Cash Flow Quadrant. Yeah, he got a lot of good ones because he have one for children. So he have a Rich Dad Poor Dad, like specifically for children. And yeah, just a great book. Great book. Like I said, I had my nephew read it and everything. So moving on, the Rich Dad Guide to Investing summary. Just a quick summary on it. Learn how the rich invest their money and why it is different from how the poor invest theirs with the Rich Dad Guide to Investing. Deep down, I believe we all want to be wealthy or at least financially free. However, you may feel as though there is a ceiling on what you can earn. In Rich Dad's Guide to Investing, Robert Kiyosaki puts forth the thought that you are in control of your wealth and how wealthy you can become. You can forget the get rich quick schemes though, as you'll have to invest wisely and play the long game to be a rich dad. So most people they just want to get rich. They want to put their money and maybe put $1,000 in crypto and then it turned to 100,000 overnight. But when you really invest in, when you're a real investor, it don't work so. So this basically give you like a framework and a mindset of how the real big investors, accredited investors, like the real big business people, the people that got like 250,000 and up net worth, is how this telling you how they move, what did they invest in, why things different for they and all of that. You check why they get different tax incentives, why all these different things. So Moving on, because I am mindful of my time. Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek. Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek. Now, I like this book a lot. This was a very good book. The premise of this book was basically the difference between a leader and a boss. I purchased this book when I was living in Miami as well. Actually, most of these books I buy when actually all the books so far and the next one I buy when I was in Miami. Simply put. Um and yeah, I buy this after my studies while I was working at Career Source. This book was actually referred to me by one of my colleagues when I was working at Career Source. So I gotta say shout out to Damien for this suggestion, and I really appreciate this one. I appreciate that. So let me say this is a very good read, because as I mentioned, it shows the difference between a leader and a boss. And many persons nowadays, they want to be a boss and tell persons what to do and have people serve them. But being a leader is different. Being a leader usually means you the servant, honestly. You know, you the servant to your team. You're the one that makes sure everyone else is good. First, you're the one that everyone turns to for advice when they're feeling down. You are the one that persons look to, you know. You are just that person for everyone. A leader is about being a role model, being supportive to your team, encouraging, not talking down on them, and dictating commands like an army general. So Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek. you know um no problem, cause blessings. Thanks for joining. So yeah, going into a quick summary. Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek. In Leaders Eat Last, Simon Sinek argues that an organization's culture stems from its leadership. He illustrates how leaders shape workplace environments by upholding values through actions rather than words alone. Sinek contends that nurturing trust and cooperation fosters loyalty, sustainable growth, and innovative thinking. Conversely, rewarding self interest and short term gain often breeds insecurity, inhibits collaboration, and threatens long term success. The book delves into the neuroscience behind motivation and the human tendency to unite around shared goals. Sinek discusses navigating modern workplace challenges like mental health and mentoring new generations entering the workforce. He provides insight into building cultures that inspire diverse individuals to contribute towards meaningful purposes beyond personal gain. Great. I ain't gonna lie, that touched me because for me, like I say, I believe in being a different type of leader. Like most leaders, they just want to boss you around, but I believe in a different approach, and that book is all about it. So great book. Leaders Eat Last. Check it out. Honestly, like I say, I've been in numerous situations, whether I've been an employee or just been in places, in workplaces, whereas I see how the leadership is why the company is not running well or why the company is running into the ground. So this book, great book. Lastly, on my 5 book list, Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich. Great book, great book, great book. Napoleon Hill. Think and Grow Rich is another good one. I also purchased this one in Miami. Um, Honestly, one of the most popular, I think. Think and Grow Rich is written by Napoleon Hill, where He interviewed numerous different persons and met with and spent time and observed many different persons who overcame adversity and focused on their desires and stayed determined to achieve success and achieve their dreams. He showed how by this person staying determined, whichever person he, like I say, is the book is about numerous different individuals. So he showed how by them staying determined, they were able to do the unthinkable. Like, for instance, he mentioned the Ben Franklin story, and he also even mentioned the story of his own son who overcame a hearing disorder and ended up making it a successful business. So he turned his pain or his setback, his uniqueness, his differentness into his success because he was hearing impaired and he needed this specific hearing aid. He ended up making a whole business out of it. So I, full disclosure, I have not fully completed this book. So I haven't fully completed this book, but I have started for sure, and it's a great book so far. Maybe halfway, both. Um, but I could say I have I am a significant way into it, and I will complete it for sure because it is a great book, and I recommend this book because by just reading the stories, it's very inspiring, and it in turn, I believe, would make anyone who want to get up and go and achieve their goals um, to overcome all obstacles. Hi Alicia, blessings. Thanks for joining. The book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. So, quick recap: Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, which I can go through the summary there quick. I also touched on Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek. I touched on two books in the Rich Dad Poor Dad series. For sure, you probably would be familiar with Rich Dad Poor Dad, but I also read this one, Guide to Invest In, and also The Richest Man in Babylon, my favorite for sure, for sure. So yeah, for sure, I'm gonna share the links to all the books in the description on YouTube, so you could always go back and check that out. But apart from that, once the episode done, you could always check it back and see all the because I share like the summary and some content about all these books. So yeah, like I say, very inspiring book. Anybody who, let me say, want to get up and go get it, go achieve their goals or overcome whatever obstacles or adversity they face in. Every chapter in the book has one specific story or objective, one dream they wanted to attain, and it shows how they stayed determined, like tunnel vision, and they achieve, so believe in yourself. So on that point, let me just show this. So yeah, like I say, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill is a guide to success, which was first published in 1937 following the Great Depression. It was immediately welcomed as an antidote to hard times and remained a bestseller for decades. Many people still find its philosophy of positive thinking and its specific steps for achieving wealth both relevant and life-changing. Hill contends that our thoughts become our reality and offers a plan and principles for transforming thoughts into riches, including visualization, affirmation, creating a mastermind group, defining a group, and planning. Good. So understand all of this tie into our episode. Today we're talking about mindset shift. And that's basically what he's showing you. He's showing you like some people might think when you're staying positive, even in adversity, let me say you're in a situation that tough and maybe you're smiling through it still. Maybe you're checking, man, I know I can beat it. I know I can get through it. Some people might look at you checking, man, you crazy, man. How are you staying positive and you going through this? But that positive mindset could be exactly what make you see your way through that. So yeah, this whole episode has been about mindset shifts, and how positive growth mindset can help you grow, be a more positive, better you, live in your purpose, but also grow your wealth. Plain and simple. Because once your mind right, pocket can be right too. So I can start wrapping up. Them the 5 books for sure say I had to share, which from long before I even start this podcast, I put a note with information saying, yeah, I can make a video sharing these 5 books. So today was that, kind of 2 in 1. But yeah, before I wrap up, I want to share a seat. Look, I make a lose my spot. Damn. Anyways, yeah, this book I read it now. Someday is Today. Someday is Today by Matthew Dix. Last time I had trade, I had the same problem. I didn't really want to turn off the light for it. Anyways, yeah, Someday is Today. This is a book I read in now. I walk now. Book I read in now. Great book. It basically talking about how time is important. I ain't gonna lie, this book has shifted my mindset too, and has made me start to value my time more and be more purposeful about what I do with my time. You check? And not focusing on distractions and focusing on my intentions, because I know I got things I want to do. I know I got plans and projects and things I want to accomplish, and distractions ain't helping me get there. So this book, very good book too. This book have a whole story behind it too, and how I get it. But anyways, another time for that. Another book that I love, Moments of Truth. I actually wanted to share a snippet of this book today, but I'm not going to for the for the interest of time. But yeah, Moments of Truth by John Carlson. Great, great, great book. It talk about how basically it's a new strategies for today's customer driven economy. But it talk about how customer service and being customer oriented and dealing with your customers good is important and could make or break your business. Basically, like I say, I had a snippet I wanted to share, but I'm not gonna share it. I will on a future time. But yeah, you see, look, Alicia said, yes, great reads. Leaders Eat Last. I've never read, but would look into it. Place the list so I can look into the ones I haven't read. Keep up on sharing information that is meaningful. For sure, I gonna do that. And yeah, for sure, I can share all the content that I share today in the YouTube description. Yeah, maybe what I'll do on Facebook, I'll just share like a list, like yeah, list all the books I shared last night. Bam, bam, bam. I could do that. That's light. And yeah, 2 last books I just want to talk about. No, the white one I do that now. The Psychology of Money. Yeah, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. Timeless lessons on wealth, greed, and happiness. So another good read. I ain't start this one yet, but I have heard about this book, and for sure I can read this book. I got high list here, and I got more I ain't even pull out. And then lastly, The Millionaire Next Door. The Millionaire Next Door by Thomas J. Stanley and William D. Danko. I think I say your name correct. Yeah, The Millionaire Next Door. The Surprising Secrets of America's Wealthy. Great. Great reads. Great reads. So yeah, that's all the books I say I want to share with you today. And now for my wrap up. Thank you. Thank you for joining. All of you who be on still all know. I know I gone past 9 o'clock. But it's love. I love all you and I appreciate all you for being here. Like I always say thank you. Thank you for joining. Without you is no all over it podcast. I'll just be here talking to myself. That don't make no sense. I don't want to be here talking to myself. I could sit down in my house and talk to myself. But on a real though, I appreciate all of you. Real talk. And yeah, it's love alone. And just know we growing together. This podcast is growing. Like I mentioned, I grow in this podcast. I am on a mission to get my YouTube to 1,000 subscribers. So if you ain't subscribed yet, go like and subscribe. Blessings and love. That's love too. Like, leave a comment. Even if you come back and you listen to it after and you're checking, wow, I like what he said there, but I leave a comment. I can check it out. I promise you that. But yeah, we're doing things, we're growing, Like I mentioned, this is the second installment to the financial literacy series. That's what's going on right now. All know you're in the financial literacy series. So last week was an overview on all the general topics. And now, today we talk about mindset shift. Next week, we're going to dive into the next topic on the list. Don't worry, I'll leave it as a surprise. But yeah, just know we're growing. We got interviews coming soon. I actually have an interview lineup about dividends, so you don't want to miss that one. Trust and believe. Trust and believe. That's going to be a good one. Inspiring, informational, entertaining, everything. So you don't know. It's love. We're growing, we're elevating. Like I say, interviews soon. Shout out to all of you. Like I mentioned earlier, anybody who on the live, leave a comment so I could know you're there. Because if you don't comment, I ain't gonna know you're there. You see, I like Alicia. I didn't know she was there before she leave a comment. You check. So then when she commented, big her up. You check. But yeah, you gotta leave a comment. Let me know you're there so I could shout you out, because I want to shout you out. I want to big you up for being on this. You check? So I know maybe some of us may be shy, but I hope you're not. And if you're not, leave a little comment. Let me know who you be, where you're there, where you're hailing from. Anything that resonates with you, anything that inspire you or touch you, leave it in the comment. Like I talk about a nice voice note I get from one of my friends last week, man. Touch my heart, self. Make me feel good, self. Checking like, boy, all the boy, you're doing good work. Yeah, doing God's work. But yeah, it's God give me this inspiration to come here and do this. God who does give me the inspiration to come and say what I can say. So it's He. So He know who gotta hear it. He know who gonna hear it. He know when you gonna come on. That just when you come on is when I saying exactly what you need to hear. So you go. I have no worry because God knows all things. Amen to that. So that being said, this has been All Over It Podcast episode 14. Where we talk about mindset shift. Shift your mindset. It's important. We have been conditioned. We have been programmed. We have been set in a fixed mindset lifestyle. But if we was to have a growth mindset, a positive mindset, positive outlook on things, we're gonna grow. We're going to make things happen. We're going to live in our purpose. So, yeah, like I say, All Over It podcast, episode 14, coming to an end. Thank you very much for joining. Next week is episode 15, where we on to the next installment of this financial literacy journey and series. Yeah, I hope to see how you there. Check love and blessings. Appreciate all of you and have a blessed evening onwards. Check, like and subscribe. Love alone. Blessings. See ya later. While I give you the nice background music and